Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Ebony and I post weekly videos on bullet journaling, reading and anything creative. For today's video, I'm going to be going through my August/September reading recap and to be read. So the first book on my reading recap list is The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn. So this is one that I've been wanting to read for quite a while now, so I'm glad that I finally got through it. And honestly, it really didn't take me long to read at all because I really enjoyed it. Like, I found it really hard to put down and I just wanted to keep reading. And there were definitely some moments in this book where I didn't see that coming at all, which was really good. It kept me on my toes. But for those of you who aren't familiar with this book, basically it's about a woman who is agoraphobic, so she doesn't ever leave her house, and she thinks she witnesses a murder of her neighbour through her window, but nobody believes her. She can't find any real proof, and because she can't leave her house, it's not like she can go over there or anything like that. And there are some other questions with medications that she's on, and she drinks quite a lot as well, so everyone kind of finds it really easy to just dismiss her. And it's about her story of trying to figure out whether she actually did witness a murder, and if she did, who it was, and who committed the murder, really. So I definitely recommend this book. It was really good, and I know that they've now made a movie on Netflix, I think, out of this book, or based on this book, I should say. I haven't seen that yet. I am interested in watching that movie too, that was kind of the real push for me to actually get onto this book and read it, because I definitely wanted to read it first before I watched the movie. But yeah, hopefully I will enjoy the movie as much as I enjoyed the book, but we will see. So I definitely gave this book a 5-star rating because I really enjoyed it. The next book is The Kept Woman by Karen Slaughter. Now, this book is actually book 9 of the 𝕊𝕚𝕚 series, which I have been I say reading, but technically listening, because I have them in audio format on Audible. And I did quite enjoy this book. It definitely had some twists and turns that I didn't see coming, and I really like how Karen Slaughter sort of made things match up in the long term to things that she'd already included or alluded to in previous books, and that was really good. But there is one thing about this series, I do like this series, I am enjoying it, and I'm assuming this is the only Karen Slaughter I've ever read/listened to, but I'm guessing it's her writing style. It's kind of vulgar, it's very graphic, and some of the language and the way that people speak and behave is quite undesirable, I guess is the best way to describe it, and it can be kind of hard to listen to at points. So definitely keep that in mind if you're if you're interested in reading/listening to any of these books. But when you move past that, the storylines are quite good and they're quite interesting. And it is well written overall as well, and I do quite like most of the characters in this book as well. There are a couple that I'm not a big fan of, but I guess you get that with every book. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading the next book. I do recommend this book if you like crime stories and crime series, but just keep in mind, like I said, it's a bit crass at times. Oh, and I just realized I didn't even tell you what it's about. So basically, the whole 𝕊𝕚𝕚 series follows Agent Will Trent, who is an agent of the GBI, which is the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. And basically he investigates things like murders, kidnapping, any real crimes that he comes in and helps out the local police forces. And so this is just another story for something he's investigating, but this story definitely hits a lot closer to home for Will. I don't want to say much more because I don't want to give too much away, but yeah. Definitely though, if you are going to listen to these, definitely start from the beginning of this series, because it will make a lot more sense once you get to these books. And I give this book a 4 out of 5-star rating just because of the vulgarness. And then the last book on my reading recap, it's kind of a work in progress. I haven't actually finished this book yet, but I have been reading it since February this year, so that kind of says something in and of itself. But it is The Mark of Athena by Rick Riordan. So anyone who knows me knows that I absolutely love the Percy Jackson series. It was one of my favorite movies. I know not a lot of people who like the books like the movies, but I do. So, but that's how I first discovered Percy, and then I read the books, loved the books. Definitely recommend that series if you are interested in some fantasy Greek mythology young adult type stuff. And so, of course, naturally, I was going to move on to the Heroes of Olympus next. So, The Mark of Athena is actually the third book in this series. I will say, so far, I'm finding this one a lot harder to get into. And I don't really know why. Like, it is good. When I read it, I do enjoy it. But then when I put it down, there's no real, like, oh, I need to pick this up and find out what's happened next. And, like, I don't know why. I don't know what it is. But it's good so far. Just like I said, it's taking me a long time to get through. I think I'm about 2/3 of the way through. And I'm really hoping to have this finished by the end of August, so then I can move on to the next book, obviously. But yeah, so I would give this one a 4 out of 5 so far. This might change, obviously, because I haven't actually finished the book. And I'm only deducting 1 star because I just can't get into it, and I really have no answer for that, but that is why I'm only giving it 4 stars so far. So, for my August/September to be read, because I probably will be starting most of these books before August ends. The first book I have on this list is The House of Hades by Rick Riordan. So this is the 4th book in the Heroes of Olympus series. Now, obviously, whether I start this or not depends on whether I finish The Mark of Athena, so I'm really hoping I do so I can start this book. But yeah, we will see. And then I have got The Last Widow by Karen Slaughter also on my list, so this is the next Will Trent book. So I believe it's book 10 in the Will Trent series, and this one sounds like it's going to be kind of stressful in the sense that I think Will's partner, who is also the medical examiner, Sarah Linton, actually gets kidnapped, and so I can see that being not great, and I hope it ends well, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. And I think there's like some explosions, and a CDC doctor is also kidnapped at some point. I think they're kidnapped before Sarah, from the sounds of it. But yeah, I'm sure it's going to be good. I enjoyed the last 9 books so far, so looking forward to listening to that one. I didn't mention, but I do actually listen to that via audiobook. For some young adult fiction, I just find them a lot easier to read and get through, and they're just kind of a nice break from some of the other stories that I read/listen to. I have One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. I hope I'm saying that right. So this book series was actually recommended to me by my close best friend, and she said she really enjoyed it, so I definitely want to read it as well. It sounds really interesting, so I think that there is a murder. It sounds like there's, I think 5 teens get put into detention, and it said something about only 4 leave alive, so I guess those 4 are then suspected for the murder, or something along those lines. Because I think they all have a motive, and they're all sort of different and from different worlds, so that should be interesting to read. And lastly, on my to-be-read list, I have The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. So this one has been so popular, and it was really, I tried to borrow it from my library, and it was like booked out for weeks and weeks, and then we went into lockdown, so can't go to the library anyway. So I was super excited to see that it's actually the free Audible book for the month. So if you have an Audible subscription, they give you a free book each month. Like I think it's the editor's pick or something like that, and you get it for free. So I grabbed that as soon as I realized, and am super excited to listen to it. It has a really intriguing storyline. So I think the main character, Nora, decides to take her own life, so I guess that is a bit of a trigger warning for suicide. If that does bother you, maybe avoid this book. But she decides to take her own life, and in doing so she ends up at the Midnight Library, which I guess is sort of an in-between place. And the librarian there tells her that all of the books are different versions of her life if she had made different choices. And she gets to basically pick different versions and try them out and see if she wants to live in those lives. And it's just such an interesting concept because, like, I mean, it makes you think, like, what would I do if I could go back and change one thing, which would then change my entire life's trajectory? Like, would I do it, and what would it be? So I'm definitely very interested in listening to this book. So that is my August/September reading recap and to be read for 2021. Don't forget, if you liked this video, to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more content like this, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks!